Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video here on the channel. I haven't really figured out an intro yet. Well, I have. I feel like I have a pretty dedicated one, but I keep messing it up. But welcome back to Speed Build Sunday. So today I built a house that is for my Sims 4 Let's Play. It would be more of their dream home. They definitely can't afford it right now. It's 150,000 simoleons and then they have like 50,000, so it may not even be a possibility ever, which is sad to say. I built it maybe a little too big, but I had this kind of vision in mind that I wanted, and I thought, this house would be something Sasha would be like. I want a house that's very, extravagant with this big porch and this big backyard and beautiful white flowers, everywhere. I just think she'd want to show off about this. So this would be their dream house if they do end up living in it. I mean, she wouldn't compromise. That's the thing. It's not like she would have a half decorated house, because if she had this house, she would have everybody over. And if they couldn't afford to decorate it all, then she wouldn't want anybody seeing that. So she's such a stuck-up person. At first when I created that Let's Play, I thought she was going to be a different person, but the more that I develop her character, the more I realized she's really a stuck-up person. She really is. I think she's a very complicated person. I think she's hard to get along with, and she just doesn't really, I don't know. And I think her career hasn't really helped that. If you guys watch that, if you don't, I recommend it. It's pretty good. I'll have it linked in the cards if you wanted to watch it, but today, I actually wanted to do a tag because I kind of enjoy tags. I feel like it's a fun way to get to know me. Love to hear what you like. I'll tell you what the tag is. And I'd love to hear what your answers to these questions, basically. So we're going to do, it's called the scariest thing tag. It's just a few questions about what your fears are. So I guess you know what my fears are now. Maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. But it's okay. So the first question is your scariest real life experience. So, this will come up. I think it's another question, but my biggest fear is ghosts, which may sound silly. If you believe in them, then you get this. If you don't, people are like, well, why would you be afraid of ghosts? They can't actually hurt you. And it's just I think it's just more the fear of seeing them. I'm afraid of a few other things, but that's my number one fear. What gives me anxiety is a zombie apocalypse or a natural disaster, like an earthquake. I would actually panic. But a ghost, I don't know. I think I'd more just freeze. And I do have an experience. So a couple years ago, I went with a group of friends, me and my best friend Hunter and a few other friends that I worked with at the time. We went to this old asylum. So there's an asylum in Utah called Asylum 49. You can Google it if you want, whatever. It doubles as a haunted house. So it's one of the scariest haunted houses, I would say, in Utah during Halloween, because it's a touch. They can touch you and they can pull you into rooms. It's not it was never a real asylum necessarily. It was actually, I believe, if I remember what they told us, it was a medical hospital, I think, for people during the war who couldn't afford medical care or something like that. I can't remember. If you're that curious, go Google it. But anyways, so we rented out the whole place as a big group. There was probably maybe 10, 15 of us. 10, 15, that's a big jump. I think it was really around 13 people. I think there was people I didn't know that were mutual friends of my friends. So we rented out the whole place, and there was nobody else there. They had a few people that had to be around just to make sure, obviously, we're not vandalizing or anything. And they took us on an initial tour of all the rooms. Now, it's creepy. You can look up pictures and you can see it. It's creepy. Don't get me wrong. When you think of a haunted house, you're probably well, lame. There's props everywhere. No. It's old-fashioned, interior. There's just they have some of the real furnishings, and I mean, maybe I'm a sucker. My boyfriend's like, that stuff's not real, right? Like, that wasn't real. And I was like, but I'm a baby, so hear me out. So we, were determined to find a ghost, but basically. And so we had some of our own equipment. We had a voice recorder, all that kind of stuff. So they took us on a tour, and there was a few rooms that I was majorly creeped out on. One of these rooms, and I swear to God, I wouldn't lie about this or exaggerate it. I know what I saw. So I walked into this room, and it was kind of like a TV area where people could gather and watch TV. So they had a TV, and they just had these old chairs. And, you're kind of and quickly I kind of looked to my right, and there's another doorway at the end of the room, and there was a black figure for 2 seconds. It's not like I saw all this detailed stuff. No, it lasted 2 seconds, but I was like, oh shit. And nobody else saw it, right? So it was 2 seconds, but I was like, oh crap. And this was the beginning of the tour. And so I was like, great, I'm gonna die. No, I was just panicking the whole time. So I was like, okay, awesome, great. So it wasn't necessarily I had a bad feeling about it. If you believe in spirits, you can usually tell the difference between a good or a bad spirit, ghost, whatever you call them. And so I didn't feel bad. I just felt kind of panicky because I was like, oh shit, this is my worst fear. So we continue the tour, and we go into the a lower level of the asylum. And apparently they say that there's a ghost that lives down there called the Guardian. And he's kind of this, they just describe him as this big, ghost who guards over the people that still reside in the asylum, the hospital. And that you'll definitely know his presence. And I was like, great. And everybody was just kind of feeling really eerie. Even before they told that story, we all kind of whispered to each other, do you feel this room is super, it was just kind of cold, and you just felt a bad feeling, definitely actual panic. We're all just kind of looking at each other crap. And nothing was even happening yet, right? So they told us that, and I was like, great, this is gonna, why did I agree to do this? I hate this kind of stuff. And I was just, oh my gosh. So anyways, we kind of continue the tour, and they let us go by ourselves. Me, I'm not brave, so I wasn't going in some of the rooms, the hospital rooms, or there was these smaller spaces that you could go through. I was like, oh hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting myself in that situation. So there was a nursery where kids, had stayed, I guess, when they stayed at this hospital. And I was like, okay, that's my safest bet, because kids like me, right? Maybe ghost kids will like me. And so I just stay in this room with my best friend, Hunter. And, eventually they join us, my friends. And then the tour guide comes back, and they're like, do you have your own equipment? And we said yes. And they're like, she claims she's a medium, right? And she's like, well, let's see if I can talk to some of the spirits then. So she had some of her own equipment as well. It was one of those beep things where if there was a presence, it would beep or something like that. So when we're in there, she was asking the kids questions. I can't remember their names or anything. She did have names for them, because she said that there's a little girl that was pretty common to be seen. I actually think there's a picture on Google of her, they claim. And then there was a little boy or something like that. So, she called on to them and was asking them oh, if you're here, come forward, give us a sign. I mean, nothing happened, right? Surprise, surprise. And so I'm thankful. I'm thank God. But my friends are no, dang it. We want to be haunted, basically. So I don't know. And then they take us into this big room where it's this big long table, and I'm sitting at the end of the table, and to my right is just this pitch black darkness, and I'm terrified. And so apparently they're saying that there's a high level of ghost activity in this room. So they were talking to these ghosts, right? And keep in mind, mostly everybody is in this room. And all of a sudden we hear this loud bang, and we're just we all jump, and we're what the heck? And they're oh, that's some ghost that I guess lives in the cellar, the bottom, and he hits the pipes. And and so, I mean, okay, so this is where it's there could have been somebody down there trying to scare us, right? There could have been. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I mean, it's just whatever you believe. That one, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't convinced, but I'm not like saying it's not true either. I don't know. The scariest part is actually not even what happened there. So I was just freaking out the whole time, basically just like not thinking about it. I literally get out of there and I like pray. I'm like, please God, please don't let any ghosts follow me. This is actually my worst nightmare. And obviously I was fine. But so I mean, that's a long story short. But later, my friend comes and gets me at his desk and he's like, Natalie, come here. I'm like, what? And he's like, we caught something on our voice recorder. I'm like, what? So we're like listening, and it's when we're in the nursery, and she's asking the questions, and we're all just kind of sitting there like, oh my God, and you can hear in the background a very, very, very faint baby cry. Okay, it's not like obvious. It wasn't like, oh, it's a baby. Like, no, it was super faint. And we look at each other and we're like, oh my God, because we didn't hear that when we were there. Like, we would have, even if it was faint, it was so quiet. We were all in the same room. Everybody was in the same room. There's nobody else in the whole building. I mean, that we know of, right? But even if it was somebody that was like trying to scare us, how do you simulate that? I don't know. And my boyfriend's like, well, they probably have the technology to do that. And I'm like, why would they? Like, so we'll come back? Like, maybe, but no, that felt really like you would have heard that in person. You would have heard it. And we all were here to hear it, like on the recording. And I'm just like, oh, hell no. Like, oh my gosh. It still like freaks me out because I remember just like the feeling that I got. And I was like, I did not hear that. And I was listening. Like, I was just, ooh. So that's like the scariest experience I've had. And I don't mess with that kind of stuff anymore just because, I don't know, I'm just not brave anymore. I was never brave. But, when you're younger, you kind of suck it up. But I just can't anymore. I get too panicky. I get anxious about it. And I can't go to sleep at night. So I can't do that. So that was the first question. What's your scariest life experience? The second one is, what's your scariest paranormal experience, which is that. Oh, ooh. Have you ever known anyone convicted of a violent crime? No, I haven't. I guess my life's not that interesting. Are you afraid of the dark? Why or why not? Yeah, I'm afraid of the dark. I have to fall asleep with the TV on. And if my boyfriend falls asleep before me, I like panic a little bit. I have a really hard time going to sleep because my mind plays tricks on me, right? Like, I'll be like looking around. My brain does this basically. I lay down. I'm like, okay, Natalie, time to go to sleep, and I have to think about things to kind of get me to go to sleep. My mind trails off and then I fall asleep. Well, my brain is not nice to me. And it will be like, hey, Natalie, remember how you're scared of this? Remember how you're scared of all these things? Remember what the ring girl looks like? Remember what that one time that you saw, like you thought you saw a scary ghost? What if they're in the bathroom right now? Like, you don't know. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And so then I'll like look in the bathroom and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So then I'm like, what if someone's actually standing there? Like, what am I going to do? So yeah, I'm afraid of the dark. I have been since my sister made me watch The Ring when I was like 9, which is way too young. And I'm still like traumatized. I still can't watch that movie because I'm actually traumatized from that movie. So yeah, I'm afraid of the dark. Does your hometown have any scary stories or legends? Maybe. I mean, my hometown, like where I live right now, I'm assuming, yeah. My hometown is really new, actually. Like, behind our house is all fields. And we live in Utah, so it's a big mountain region. In case you didn't know, there's mountains surrounding us. So we actually live like probably 30 minutes away from a copper mine. So behind us is just field. Like, there's no development or anything. So I live in a fairly like new developed city in Utah. So I've not heard of any like scary things happening because it's not very old or anything. I mean, Indian, Native American, maybe burial sites, probably. Who knows? But I don't think so. And what's your scariest nightmare? I don't know. I don't really remember it. It's kind of actually pretty rare that I have nightmares. which is good. But I've actually never, I'll tell you the scariest. Do I have time actually? I'll be quick. I'll tell you the scariest nightmare my sister had. So she basically had sleep paralysis. And if you don't know what that is, go Google it. But she had to take this medication and it made her basically have sleep paralysis. And so she said that my niece was, I think like 3 at the time. And my niece had some trouble sleeping just in general. She has restless leg syndrome. And so they didn't know that though at the time. So she had a hard time sleeping. So she would always come wake up my sister and she needed her help to go back to bed basically. So one night my sister is just, casually sleeping basically. And she thought she heard my niece say, "Mom." So she kind of rolls over to her side and at the edge of her bed, she kind of opens her eyes and she sees like briefly just a figure and she figures it's my niece. And so she's like, "What's up, Isabella?" And then she kind of opens her eyes more and all of a sudden she sees this like old woman like reaching for her. And she said it was the most terrifying thing she's ever seen. She really could not move for like a point of a second. And then she finally snapped out of it and like jetted back into my brother-in-law. And she's like screaming. Like she said it was so real. And the woman was like really creepy looking, she said, and she was like, her hand was like right in front of her face. And oh geez. So when she went to the doctor for it, they said that, it was probably a side effect from the medication she was on, but she said she couldn't sleep for like 3 days. Like she had to get like medicine to even help her sleep because she was so scared. She said she's never had an experience like that. She thinks it wasn't real, which could be the case, right? That could be a more medical thing where she didn't actually see that. I don't know. I'm kind of convinced otherwise. I'm wondering if it was real because I probably shouldn't talk about it, but I had a scary experience at her house. She won't watch this, will she? I don't know. I won't talk about it. Great. She's going to watch this and then she's going to be like, "Natalie, what do you..." No, I don't think she really even believes in ghosts. So anyways, she says that it was just something from her medicine, which I believe ish. I mean, I'd be convinced otherwise, but I don't think she wants to think about that, right? So that's her scariest nightmare. I've never really had a nightmare, like I said. If I have, maybe it didn't affect me enough where I remember. But so I titled this video, "Natalie reveals all the things that scare her," which is like one thing. It's basically ghosts, which is dumb. I know it's dumb because it's like, you can't, most people are scared of like serial killers, right? Or chainsaws, like stuff that can actually kill you. And I'm like sitting here like, no, I'm afraid of ghosts. Like they're going to come kill me. And it's kind of like, my friends are like, what's the worst that could happen if you did see a ghost? Like they can't hurt you. Maybe demons could, but I mean, I don't mess with that kind of stuff. So I don't think I would ever come in contact with a demon. If they could hurt you, I don't know how to even fathom like that. Basically. But yeah, I'm scared of something that doesn't even really hurt you. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's because it's unknown to me. It's terrifying. I'm not very scared of like of course I'm scared of serial killers, but like I'm not, I don't know, like I'm not scared of those type of movies. It's not the same type of fear. I don't know. I'm a baby. I'm such a baby about this kind of stuff. I can't even watch scary movies anymore. The times that my friend Hunter has tried to get me to see scary movies, I just close my eyes the entire time. I can't do it anymore because then I'll go home and I'll be like, "Remember all those scary images that you saw for 0.4 seconds? Oh, man." And then I'll be like, great. One of the scariest movies that I saw, as a teenager was Insidious. That movie is effed up. Like, if you're scared of scary movies and demons and that stuff, don't watch it. It's scary. I'm sure you've seen it. It's been out for a long time. But it's still scary. So, well, the build is coming to an end, so I hope you enjoyed this little story time. So comment below what your biggest fear is, and if you guys believe in ghosts, like if you've had any scary ghost stories, I'd love to hear it because I'm still kind of a nerd about that kind of stuff. I like to hear about it, even though I'm terrified of them. So yeah, comment below. So like and subscribe, and I will just see you guys in the next video. Yeah, I'm like all freaked out now, so that's good. Hope you guys are okay. Ugh.